Gentlemen, maybe gentle ladies, how's it going? And welcome back. Yes, it is not Ultimate Luna build. This time RNG really kicked my ass and she was still researching while I was making this build. Before we go, as usual, a little disclaimer. This build will delete half a screen and you could even go with more damage. However, the quality of life and the build rotation for smooth gameplay is a top priority here. But alternatives will be discussed later. Enjoy. So what's good, what's bad, what's ugly? The good side? That's a great gameplay, you blow stuff up and you feel like almost a Pokemon trainer. Okay, you are actually a Volgas trailer, you had to have better grades at school. Not so good thing, inversion nodes could be better, they're mostly useless. Ugly, even though it's a mobbing build, Void Erosion elites are not tractionable, so you have to throw grenade at them to collect the trash mobs around it. Same with the Void Vessel blue shields, but for that we'll have a different trick which will be discussed later. Let's roll. Modules. Explosive stacks. The most fun red module for the Lepic in my opinion, at least for the mobbing. It almost has 4 times damage than usual grenade, it can be recharged by shooting nothing, and especially after rework you shoot nothing only with 9 bullets. Plus hidden change, traction grenade now sucks those grenades into the center, everything explodes at the same time. Also after rework it received absurd amount of damage, so to support that I go with the focus on fire and crit. I'm not going with the second focus on tag because it essentially gives nothing, and loss of a cooldown is not that a big of a deal, I will explain later. Speaking of cooldown, I go with Nimble Fingers MP conversion, usual stuff, and double range increase without sacrificing skill power modifier. Initially I planned to go with maximize range because skill power modifier reduction essentially does nothing with such amount of default one. But then I tested Blazing Zone and it actually affects that as well. So I decided to not sacrifice that for lazy mobbing. Dangerous Ambush gives 49% skill power bonus for the immobilized targets. And that works with the traction grenade. We sacrifice a little bit of a cooldown, but it doesn't really matter because overall the cooldown matching the end of the animation of traction grenade. So all good. One HP mod fanatic from my livestream will call me out that there is no HP module. No, we don't need HP module, because most of the time mobs will not hit you since they are being sucked in. And if stuff really hits the fan, you have your passive. It will cheat death once in 1.5 minutes. Also it's green from the Transcendence module, nothing changes. Trigger module. Blazing Zone, the new one. Ideally you want to have that at 100% spawn rate. It enables us lazy mobbing. Really important to note that this has a 4-second cooldown, so you cannot essentially spam that. One of the reasons we also not min-maxing cooldown. One thing to note, it's not a fire damage. How it can be abused? I will tell you in tips and tricks section. Weapons. Secret Garden. Gives us skill power on tech skill spam, and we spam a lot. Also it's a burst rifle, it's quite easy to combine with overclock, gives your grenade stacks back really fast. Doesn't really need to be maxed out, but bring in sprint cores because with overclock you can reach maximum sprint speed. Reactor. Fire and tech, usual stuff. I go with the cooldown and crit hit damage. For the components, I'm not going with the Slayer set because we already have truckload of damage and it will also cause the mana issues. Instead, I went with the Hunter set to give us additional cooldowns and more or less it will match the duration of the traction grenade for the cooldown. To complete the set, I went with the Mage. Skill power increase is always nice. For the stats, max HP MP, double MP, MP defense, double shield. With all the cores we go HP defense. Why not have my HP maxed out? Anyway. I went with the skill power increase, because of such multiplier it gives lots of damage, cooldown and the crit damage. I didn't go with the crit because we have 4 grenades at max range and each grenade rolls the crit separately. With around 50% of crit chance, you have to be really unlucky to not hit any crit. Speaking of range, we also take this one to maximize it. Mutated Cell, I still go with the cohesion, not the new one, because it's a mobbing build, and to get the benefit of the resistance reduction you have to hit your target twice. Do we really need to hit target twice? Not in this case. Inversion. Most of the stuff here is kinda useless, so I went with the more quality of life stuff. MP regen, a pain suppression, instead of usual hardened shell which I pick up, because most of the time you will not get hit. But when you will get hit, you probably will need that a little bit HP bonus. RK circulation tactic, kinda pointless because of a cooldown, but there is no much better options. One important thing to notice, The skill effect range will help us cap for the 4th grenade. And the newest addition to our builds, Fellow. This dude will give you some MP back occasionally, quite useful with such spam. Alternatives. Want to spam more? You can swap Dangerous Ambush to focus on tech. Do not touch range because it gives us 4th grenade, and that's lots of damage. Want to have lazy mobbing and abuse Blazing Zone? Swap critical damage from the reactor and the arcade tuning to crit. It will give us more sustained damage. For the Void Erosion stuff or bossing, change the mutated cell to the new one, which reduces the fire resistances. If you go to the Colossi, swap to the Colossi damage and change the trigger module to the death by 1000 cuts, because the beams are actually stacking when the mobs are getting sacked in. If you really need more HP, swap mage pieces to the plague pieces. It still increases stack damage, albeit a little bit less. However, both plague pieces gives HP. And if you need more HP, no, you don't. How it plays. Spam traction grenade for the trash mobs, most of the time it will be enough to kill them. For the stronger mobs, you blow them up. One important thing, you have to throw grenades before traction grenade will end, otherwise it will not get sucked in, and it will not explode at the same time. For the bosses you activate overclock, you activate your ultimate, but to skip animation you roll around. And you can just finish the boss with point blank grenades. In some cases you will be out of cooldowns and you will need more stacks. Use overclock. Burst rifle will allow it to recharge those stacks almost instantly. Need more damage for the boss? Use overclock. It gives you crit damage. Need more movement speed between battles? Use overclock. State of the art, made by Albion. Tips and tricks time. Ooh, and Lepic has a long one. List. In the gameplay options, enable the auto fire, which will make your burst rifle fully automatic. You can also disable explosions to give more FPS. Overclock is your best friend, cast it whenever you have a free time. It will give you all sorts of bonuses, but the most important thing, you can stack the duration. For example, you don't need stacks now, activate overclock by the time you need it, you also have it back from the cooldown. You can use it again. It allows you to do this. Roll to cancel your reload, roll to cancel your ultimate animation. If overkill is on cooldown, point blank grenades hits all of them for a huge damage. If you're sure mobs will die from one stack of grenades, you can throw them and keep running. It will autopilot on their ass. You can also push the mobs off the map with this trick, except Void Erosion elites. Fun fact, enemy Lepic extraction will also suck your grenades in. You can combine them for a nice explosions. The Void Shield trick which I promised. Blazing Zone. Skill damage, but doesn't count as any elemental damage. Works for both blue shields and yellow shields. So yeah, as usual, if there will be minor updates, I will get them into the pinned comment. We also have a community Discord where you can discuss those things. Check in the description. Have fun, and as always, thanks for watching. Start sucking.